Hei Shinjio was enjoying her meal when she saw the crown prince and the four princes jump out of the hall as if they were being chased by dogs. Then the old royal highness, the old princess consort, and the others also rushed out of the hall. In the end, only she and some servants were left in the hall. Hei Shinjio was stunned for a moment. She felt that these people's strange behavior was most likely related to the bell just now, so she couldn't be bothered. Anyway, these servants didn't leave, which meant that it wasn't something that could cause the world to collapse. She eats her food. Those servants looked at Hei Shinjio, who was eating like a monster. Shi Hua and Shi Shui walked to her side and reminded her in a low voice. "Miss Jio, the bell just now sounded from the twilight bell of the temple. I guess the national master has something important to announce. Won't you go and have a look?" Yun Chujio waved her hand. "I am a low-level mainland to the little waste to go, or not, what does it matter? Are you hungry? Come, sit down to eat." "Oh right, and you guys, you've been busy for a long time. If you don't waste these dishes, sit down and eat together. I'm afraid they won't be back for a while. After you finish eating, clean up the things. They won't notice." No one dared to sit down and eat. Although King Yun and the others were not here, the butler was still here. If they were caught, it would be terrible. Hei Shinjio did not care about them. After eating and drinking, she put all the food on the table into her storage ring. The crown prince and the others did not eat anything anyway. She ate the leftovers herself. Hei Shinjio burped and was weakly supported away by Shi Hua and Shi Shui. The servants of the Cloud Mansion looked at each other. This ninth miss was not in good health, but her appetite was big enough, and she even packed it? She must have suffered a lot in the past and was afraid of being hungry, right? This ninth miss was really pitiful. Hei Shinjio was supported by Shi Hua and Shi Shui. She muttered softly, "Io, your miss is not pretending this time. I'm stuffed to death. Io." The corners of Shi Hua and Shi Shui's eyes twitched violently. This was too useless. It was fine as long as she was full, but she was already so full. The two of them helped Hei Shinjio out of the room and saw Ji Mama chasing after her in a hurry. "Miss Jio, the old consort just sent a message to me, asking you to go to the temple immediately." PN01 calm Hei Shinjio burped. "Ask me to go to the temple? I'm just a piece of trash. What do you want me to do?" Ji Mama's mouth twitched. Her spiritual power was low, but she was not ashamed of it. Instead, she was proud of it. What a weirdo. "I don't know the reason either, but the old madam wants you to go there immediately. Shi Hua, Shi Shui, you go with Miss Jio to the Divine Hall immediately. If you go late, be careful of your little lives," Ji Mama said sternly. Yun Chujio pouted. She knew that Ji Mama could not directly order her, so she took a detour to remind her to go quickly. Shi Hua and Shi Shui did not dare to delay. They almost carried Yun Chujio out of the Yun mansion in a hurry. After the two of them summoned their wildebeest, they saw Hei Shinjio slowly summon a big rabbit. The two of them then remembered that they had heard someone say that their ninth miss had come to the city on a rabbit. The two of them did not have time to talk nonsense. They pointed in a direction and urged Yun Chujio to hurry up. "Burp, burp, no, I'm too full. I can't leave too quickly. Let's go for a stroll. Don't worry, one more is not much, one less is not little," Hei Shinjio said while burping. Shi Hua and Shi Shui were sweating profusely, but they didn't dare to do anything to Yun Chujio. They could only stare at her anxiously. After about 15 minutes, Ji Mama rode on her wildebeest and caught up with them. She took a deep breath and said, "Miss Jio, the state preceptor and all the ministers are waiting for you alone. If you don't leave soon, the old princess will expel you from the Yun family." Hei Shinjio looked confused. "They are all waiting for me? They are all waiting for a good-for-nothing like me? Tiske, I didn't expect that I was so important." Ji Mama was so angry that she gritted her teeth. "You are focusing on the wrong thing, okay?" Ji Mama was about to drag Yun Chujio to the top of the horned horse when she saw the big rabbit leap out with a whoosh. Hei Xinjia's anxious voice came from the front. "Since I'm so important, don't dawdle. Come back if you have something to say. Let's go." "Ji Mama, it's you who dawdled, all right? You fucking know how to be anxious now." Hei Shinjio was puzzled. They were all waiting for her? She was just a little trash from a low-level continent. Why were they all waiting for her? Could it be that something bad was going to happen again? Whether it was a blessing or a curse, a disaster could not be avoided. Regardless of whether it was a good thing or a bad thing, they had to go and take a look. Soon, the four of them arrived at the Divine Hall of the East Phoenix country. The Divine Hall was magnificent and had a mysterious and ancient charm. Hei Shinjio had always been uninterested in those who pretended to be mysterious. She curled her lips slightly. In her opinion, the so-called Imperial Preceptor was nothing more than a fraud. Only the fools of the East Phoenix country would believe it. There were guards outside the Divine Hall. Ji Mama and two maids were stopped by the guards and allowed Yun Chujio to enter alone. Yun Chujio stepped into the Divine Hall and a maid immediately came to lead her to the altar. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and asked in a low voice, "Sister maid, there are maids in the Divine Hall? I thought everything would be fine as long as the Imperial Preceptor chanted a spell every day." The corner of the maid's eyes twitched and she ignored Hei Shinjio. Hei Shinjio was not embarrassed and asked again, "Sister maid, are they really waiting for me? Is it so important for a little trash like me?" The maid staggered. She was obviously confused by Hei Xinjia's proud tone of calling herself a little trash, but she still did not say anything. Seeing this, Yun Chujio did not ask any more questions. It seemed that the Imperial Preceptor was really good at managing the servants. Each and every one of them was like a gourd that had its mouth cut off. Soon, Yun Chujio was brought to the altar. At the front was a 9-story altar. The white and smooth surface was emitting a cold light. There was a man dressed in white standing in front of the altar. There was a coldness in his bones, causing people to unconsciously feel reverence. Of course, Hei Shinjio was not one of these people. Hei Shinjio glanced at him. This national advisor was a middle-aged, beautiful uncle, but she did not know if it was because he had no desires or was pretending to be cold. There were many people standing in the square. At the very front stood a middle-aged man dressed in a dragon robe, and beside him stood a middle-aged woman wearing a phoenix coronet and a veil. She must be the Emperor and Empress of East Phoenix country. Behind her stood the Crown Prince, and then the Prince. Yun Chujio's heart skipped a beat. It seemed that something big had happened, and she had to come here. It couldn't be related to her, right? At this moment, everyone's eyes were focused on Hei Shinjio. Hei Shinjio coughed a few times and looked at the old imperial consort timidly, looking at her at a loss. When Hei Shinjio was dressed as Little Lotus, she heard the state preceptor say in a cold voice, "Miss Yunjio, since you're late, you can be the sacrifice today." Yun Chujio. Damn it. That's not how it works. Sacrifice? Wouldn't she be dead? She still had a lot of things to do. She still had to give birth to a monkey for the pretty boy. She still had to save her mother. She was still looking for her father. Was she going to die just like that? Hei Shinjio knew that she definitely couldn't run away now. After all, her spiritual power was weak compared to these people. There was no chance of escaping at all. The damn Great Void Mirror was still in hibernation. Otherwise, she could hide inside the Great Void Mirror. What should she do now? Just as Hei Shinjio was burning with anxiety, she realized that many women were looking at her with jealousy and indignation in their eyes. Hei Shinjio was dumbfounded. Are these people sick? Do they all want to be sacrificed? Are they all so aware that they would rather sacrifice their lives for the so-called nonsense? Just as Hei Shinjio was in a daze, a maid from the Divine Hall came over. "Miss Yunjio, please follow me." Hei Shinjio secretly gritted her teeth. She could only take it one step at a time. If she really could not do it, she would think of a way to kidnap the National Master. Fuck, there would be a place for her if she did not leave the Master here. After all, she could not die. Yun Chujio followed the maid to the bottom of the altar. This fellow was pondering in his heart. Was he going to burn her to death or chop off her head? Just as Hei Shinjio was thinking, she saw the National Master's hair flying in the air. He was mumbling to himself, and the top of the 9th floor altar was burning. Everyone was kneeling on the ground devoutly. Only Hei Shinjio was staring at the 9th floor altar with blinking eyes. This big-hearted guy was thinking, Pooey? He's playing tricks. There must be a formation inside the altar, which was why it was burning with his so-called incantation. This fellow finally thought of something serious. It was highly likely that he would throw her into the altar and burn her. Fortunately, she had the fire-repelling pearl, so it would not burn her to death. At that time, she could make up a lie, such as a warning from the heavens. In any case, these people of the East Phoenix Kingdom were very superstitious. Perhaps she could kick out the national master and replace him. Just as Hei Shinjio was thinking of a good thing, she saw the national master walking towards her. The Grand Tutor said in a cold voice, "Miss Yunjio, since you have become the sacrifice, you are the Grand Tutor's disciple. You must be by the Grand Tutor's side from now on." Hei Shinjio, the so-called sacrifice was actually like this? Not dead? Many of the women kneeling below looked at Hei Shinjio with eyes full of naked envy, jealousy, and hatred. They wished they could replace her. All the women in the East Feng Kingdom dreamed of becoming the Imperial Tutor's disciple. Although they said they were his disciples, they were actually his partners. To be able to become the Imperial Tutor's woman? Heavens, just thinking about it made them so happy. The Imperial Tutor's woman was more honorable than any empress or princess. They did not expect that this damn country bumpkin would actually be chosen by the Imperial Tutor. They were really lucky. Princess Shiyu's eyes were filled with jealousy. If it was possible, she would rather be the Imperial Tutor's woman than be the Crown Prince's concubine. Although the Crown Prince was not bad, compared to the Imperial Tutor, he was like a bright moon in the sky and a candle on the ground. There was no comparison at all. Concubine Yun, Zhengshi, gently tugged at Princess Shiyu's sleeve. Only then did Princess Shiyu put away the ferocious look on her face. She was a little scared. Fortunately, the Crown Prince was kneeling in front of her. Otherwise, it would be terrible if he saw her. In the silence, Hei Shinjio coughed a few times. "Imperial Preceptor, I want to ask, what does it mean to be inseparable? As a disciple, do you still need to accompany and sleep?" Everyone looked at Hei Shinjio, especially some of the girls. Their eyes were about to spit fire. Shameless. He actually asked such a question in public. How badly did you want to sleep with the National Master? The National Master's expression was normal as he said indifferently, "Since we are inseparable, we naturally have to sleep with each other." Yun Chujia's heart was like a dog that was bickering. Fuck. This bullshit state preceptor looked like a human dog. He was already old enough to be her father, yet he still wanted to take advantage of her? Shameless. Yun Chujio violently coughed a few times. "State Preceptor, I'm sorry, I'm afraid I can't accompany and sleep with you. I haven't come to Kueishue yet. So, do you have any other choice?" Everyone was shocked. This Yun Chujio actually wanted to reject the Imperial Preceptor? Didn't she know that becoming the Imperial Preceptor's disciple was the dream of all the women in East Phoenix Country? Didn't she know that as long as she became the Imperial Preceptor's disciple, she could fly up to the branches and become a phoenix? Had her head been kicked by a demon beast? Oh right, she came from a low-grade continent, so she didn't know what kind of glory it was to become the Imperial Preceptor's disciple. She really deserved it. If this country bumpkin knew the truth in the future, he would definitely regret it so much that he would vomit blood. The old Imperial concubine was so anxious that she wished she could scold Yun Chujio awake. This silly girl. What was the big deal about Kueishue not coming? The Imperial Tutor was very resourceful. It would be fine if he helped you to recuperate. He was really anxious to death. The Imperial Tutor looked at Yun Chujio meaningfully. There is another option, that is to walk into the altar and sacrifice yourself to the Divine Phoenix. Yun Chujio's face twitched. Isn't there a third option? No. The kneeling woman revealed a regretful expression. It was over. This country bumpkin would definitely not choose to offer herself as a sacrifice to the Divine Phoenix. In the end, it would be too easy for her. National Master, what do you mean by offering yourself as a sacrifice to the Divine Phoenix? After you enter the altar, you will be burned by a raging fire until you turn into ashes. Your body and soul will be offered as a sacrifice to the Divine Phoenix of our East Phoenix country. The national master said coldly. What if the divine phoenix doesn't want me to die and doesn't accept me? Do I have to stay in the fire forever? Hei Shinjio blinked her eyes and asked. The people below curled their lips. This Yun Chujio was really shameless. The divine phoenix didn't want her to die. Who did she think she was? The imperial preceptor's tone didn't change much. If you are still alive after 3 days, you can be exempted from your identity as a sacrifice. Yun Chujio's face revealed a look of despair. After a long while, she asked dryly, State Preceptor, why did you choose me as a sacrifice? Is it because I'm as beautiful as a flower? The State Preceptor. The women below all wished they could spit on Yun Chujio's face. Shameless. They had never seen such a shameless person. However, they were also very curious. Why did the State Preceptor choose this country bumpkin? Was it really because of her beauty? The national master was silent for a while, and then said indifferently, because the heavens have shown that the woman who came the latest today is my disciple. Hearing this, Yun Chujio looked at the old consort with resentment. It was all the fault of this white-eyed old lady. Why did she call her here for no reason? The old consort saw Yun Chujio's resentful eyes and was so angry that she was twitching. You stupid girl, becoming the national master's disciple is a great thing. Moreover, she didn't have to call Hei Shinjio over. It was the imperial tutor himself who suggested that all the dignitaries must be present. That was why she called Hei Shinjio over. Yun Chujio gritted her teeth and stomped her foot. Blushing, she said, Imperial tutor, to tell you the truth, I already have someone in mind. Although we are not married, we have touched everything that we should and shouldn't touch. Therefore, I don't have the face to become your disciple. I choose to sacrifice myself to the divine phoenix. Imperial tutor, everyone, the old princess almost fainted. It was over. Little Gio would never be able to get married in this lifetime. Hei Shinjio thought to herself, this is called getting it over with once and for all, so as to prevent anyone from having designs on her again. Let's see who would still dare to marry her. Otherwise, when she safely came out of the altar, it would be terrible if this shameless state preceptor had designs on her again. The national master said with a stiff face, in that case, you can go up to the altar. Hei Shinjio wiped her tears and walked to the old royal highness and the old consort. Grandfather, grandmother, little Gio is unfilial. She is going to sacrifice herself to the divine phoenix even though she hasn't done her filial duty yet. Just pretend that I'm not your granddaughter. The old royal highness frowned and didn't say anything. However, the old consort lowered her voice and said, Little Gio, it seems that the national master doesn't dislike you. Just be his disciple. Be obedient. Yun Chujio thought to herself, damn it, I despise him. Old ox still wants to eat young grass. Bah. She did not know how many girls this fraud had ruined with this method. Sooner or later he would expose his true colors. Although Yun Chujio was cursing in her heart, her face revealed a hint of determination. Grandmother, I am in love with that person. I will not do anything to let him down. So I would rather sacrifice myself to the divine phoenix. The old imperial consort was about to persuade her again, but Zheng Shi said from the side, Mother, it is the honor of the Yun imperial residence to be able to sacrifice myself to the divine phoenix. Don't say any more. Although the old imperial consort was unhappy, she knew that Zheng Shi was right. If the emperor was unhappy with the Yun imperial residence, it would be bad. First aunt, since you speak so righteously, then let third sister become the imperial tutor's disciple. Anyway, we are all the Yun family's daughters, so it doesn't matter who goes. Third sister, are you willing to become the imperial preceptor's disciple? Yun Chujio looked at Princess Shiyu with a smile. Princess Shiyu's face instantly turned red. She was naturally willing, but she wasn't stupid enough to say it out loud, so she said hesitantly, Ninth sister, this isn't child's play, don't talk nonsense. Yun Chujio shrugged her shoulders, turned around and asked the imperial preceptor, Imperial preceptor, my third sister said that she is willing to replace me, take her as your disciple? Princess Shiyu almost fainted from anger. When did she say such a thing? Princess Shiyu shook her head repeatedly. No, I didn't say it. Imperial Preceptor, I didn't say it. The Imperial Preceptor looked at Princess Shiyu indifferently. What? Princess Shiyu is also unwilling to become my disciple? Could it be that the Yun residence is dissatisfied with me? Princess Shiyu hated Yun Chujio to death. The imperial tutor might not want to accept her as his disciple, but if she said she was willing, she would offend the crown prince. If she said she wasn't willing, the imperial tutor might fly into a rage. It was a dilemma. Princess Shiyu's face was flushed red. She was in a dilemma and didn't know how to answer when the imperial tutor said, Miss Yunjio, the time is up. Enter the altar. Yun Chujio pouted. She knew that she could not drag it out. She could only hug the old princess consort and then walk to the altar with a slight tremble. The old princess consort's heart was about to be broken by Hei Xinjia's hug. Although she hated this granddaughter before today, she did not know why. At this moment, seeing her go to her death, her heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. She could not help but cry. The old royal highness brows were tightly knitted. He patted the old consort's hand. He did not feel good, but what could he do? This little ninth girl was as stubborn as her father and mother. She clearly did not need to die, but she would rather choose to die than betray her beloved. He did not know whether he should say that she was stupid or one-track-minded. However, at this moment, the old prince felt that this little ninth girl had some of the pride that the Yun family's younger generation lacked. Unfortunately, she did not have a good life and was about to be destroyed. The old prince did not have the slightest thought of going against the imperial preceptor. In the East Phoenix Kingdom, the imperial preceptor was a god. Even the emperor had to listen to the imperial preceptor's arrangements. If there was no imperial preceptor, the East Phoenix Kingdom would definitely be annexed by the other three kingdoms and would soon be destroyed. If Hei Shinjio knew what the old prince and the others were thinking, she would probably roll on the ground with laughter. These people actually placed their fate on a fraud. It was simply hilarious. Everyone's gaze fell on Yun Chujio, who was walking towards the first level of the altar. Her delicate body was slightly trembling and she coughed a few times from time to time. However, her footsteps did not stop at all. The national master said indifferently, Miss Yunjio, it's still not too late for you to go back on your words. Yun Chujio did not even turn her head. I, Yun Chujio, have never gone back on my words. Moreover, I am a beautiful woman who is loyal to love. I believe that the divine phoenix will take care of me. The corners of everyone's eyes twitched. This guy was really shameless. However, she was going to turn into ashes very soon. She could show off before she died. At this moment, Yun Chujio finally reached the first level of the altar. The expected screams didn't come. Everyone guessed that this country bumpkin might have a defensive spiritual artifact or even an immortal artifact, so she was fine for the time being. However, the fire on the altar was not an ordinary fire. She couldn't last long. 15 minutes passed and an hour passed. Hei Shinjio was tired from standing, so she sat in the fire. State Preceptor, the fire on the first floor might not be too strong. How about I climb a few more floors? Hei Shinjio waved her white claws and said, Everyone, was this country bumpkin crazy? No one had ever been so eager to die. The old royal highness and the old princess were almost beating their chests and stomping their feet. Was this little Gio crazy? The state preceptor was very calm. Suit yourself. Therefore, Hei Shinjio continued to climb up and directly sat on the 9th level of the altar. This fellow looked at the people below with satisfaction. Tiesque, this feeling of looking down was really satisfying. Very soon, the sky turned dark. Yun Chujio was still alive and kicking. Everyone's hearts began to beat a little. Could it be that the divine phoenix really wasn't prepared to accept this country bumpkin? However, most people thought that the country bumpkin had a defensive immortal artifact on her, so she was not burned to death. However, she could not last for 3 days. She would definitely be burned to death. The Emperor of the East Phoenix Kingdom, Saint Martial Emperor, looked at Hei Shinjio in the flames with a complicated expression. He raised his head and looked at the state preceptor. The state preceptor's eyes were deep and he nodded slightly. Emperor Shengwu's expression was both worried and happy. He once again looked at He Xingjiu in the flames. The national master did not say anything, so everyone could only wait here for the final result. Someone exclaimed slightly that Yun Chujiu has fallen. Could she have been burned to death? Everyone raised their heads and looked. Indeed, He Xingjiu, who had been sitting and showing off, had fallen into the flames. Could she really be dead? Everyone thought that Yun Chujiu had already been burned to death, but after waiting for a long time, they still did not see her corpse turn into ashes. What was going on? Finally, someone guessed in disbelief. Could she have fallen asleep? Everyone, fuck. How could it be so frustrating? How was it possible? Not only did this guy not burn to death, but he even fell asleep? Although everyone did not believe it, they could only accept reality when they saw a young girl jumping around the next morning. It seemed that Divine Phoenix really did not want to burn this country bumpkin to death. Yun Chujiu covered her face with her sleeve and munched on a few meat buns. Then she accidentally burped. Everyone turned to look at He Xingjiu. He Xingjiu said innocently, "Sigh, I've been hungry for an entire night. Why are you still burping? How strange." Everyone, "Can't you wipe the oil off your mouth before you lie?" How unreasonable. They were so hungry that their chests were sticking to their backs. Yet she was actually able to hold on until she burped. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. After much thought, He Xingjiu decided to cancel the words that she had intended to deceive everyone. She did not know much about the East Phoenix Kingdom and the Divine Phoenix now. If the fabricated story was flawed, it might backfire. It was better to be safe than sorry. When the time came, the flames on the altar were immediately extinguished. He Xingjiu, who was standing on the 9-story altar, weakly walked down from the altar. The national master did not make things difficult for her. He said coldly, "Miss Yunjiu, since the Divine Phoenix did not take you in, your status as an offering can be cancelled. Everyone, please disperse." Pa and Dan 0v1. C0M Yun Chujiu bowed and staggered into the old consort's arms. "Grandmother, not dead. That's great. I can be filial to you and grandfather in the future." The old imperial consort's eyes reddened and she patted her back. "It's good that you're fine. Let's go home." Princess Shiyu clenched her fists tightly under her sleeves. This bitch was really lucky. Not only was she not dead, but she had also gained the old man's favor. It was really detestable. Zheng Shi glanced at her. Princess Shiyu restrained her expression and followed Zheng Shi out of the divine hall. After everyone had left, only the Imperial Preceptor and Saint Martial Emperor were left on the altar. "Imperial Preceptor, it seems that the prophecy has come true. It seems that the disaster of the East Phoenix country is about to arrive," Saint Martial Emperor said with a sigh. Imperial Preceptor also sighed slightly. "Your Majesty, there's no need to be so worried. Yun Chujiu is a variable. Perhaps she can defy the heavens and change her fate, saving the East Phoenix country from fire and water." Saint Martial Emperor frowned. "Imperial Preceptor, although the prophecy says so, can a little girl from a low-level continent really save the East Phoenix Kingdom?" Imperial Preceptor smiled. "Since she has fulfilled the prophecy, then she is the master of the Divine Phoenix. She naturally has the ability to turn the universe around. However, Your Majesty, this is a heavenly secret that cannot be revealed. You should not interfere in the matters of the Cloud Mansion. Since she is the master of the Divine Phoenix, she will naturally be able to resolve all dangers." Saint Martial Emperor nodded. Although he still felt that it was inconceivable that the master of the Divine Phoenix was such a useless little girl, since she had not been burned to death by the raging flames for 3 days and 3 nights, it was not certain that she could really turn the tides. Saint Martial Emperor chatted with the Imperial Preceptor for a while more before leaving. The Imperial Preceptor took out a yellowish sheepskin scroll from his storage ring. On it were a few words circled in cinnabar: "Voluntary sacrifice. The raging flames will not perish. The master of the Divine Phoenix, turning the tides. After Hei Shinjio helped the old princess out of the divine hall, everyone called out their wildebeest and left. Hei Shinjio called out the big rabbit under the surprised gazes of the old princess and the old prince. Then she giggled. "My rabbit runs no slower than a wildebeest, and it can jump over obstacles. Grandmother, do you want to try?" The old consort shook her head like a rattledrum. She was an old lady riding a rabbit all over the street. "Stop joking." Before Hei Shinjio and the others arrived at the Yun mansion, the rumors had already spread. In short, there were only 3 points. First, Yun Chujio had unreasonably refused to be the Grand Tutor's disciple. She was simply out of her mind. Second, Yun Chujio was a shameless person. She actually engaged with a man privately and even did something outrageous. Thirdly, because she was too useless and did not love herself, even the divine phoenix despised her. That was why they did not accept her as a sacrifice. After hearing the rumors from Xihua, Yun Chujio smiled indifferently. It was for the best so that no one would have designs on her. However, what did the national master mean? Could it be that he rang the Muchen bell to find a female disciple to accompany and sleep with? Thinking of this, Hei Shinjio asked, "Xihua, did the national master ring the Muchen bell for no reason and then find a female disciple to accompany him and sleep with?" Xihua looked at Yun Chujio in confusion and asked in disbelief, "Miss Jio, why do you think so?" Xihua revealed an expression of disappointment. "Miss Jio, although many women want to be the national master's disciple, the national master has never agreed to it. This time, he was the one who took the initiative to take in a disciple, but you actually rejected it." Ninth Miss, do you know that all the women in the East Phoenix country want to be the Grand Tutor's disciple? As long as you become the Grand Tutor's disciple, not to mention the princess consort, even the empress would not dare to provoke you. Yun Chujio was stunned. So she had misunderstood the Grand Tutor? So it was not a repeat offender, this was the first time? But no matter what, that old cow of his would not be able to eat this delicate young grass like her. This fellow had a big heart. She felt that since she could not figure it out, then she would not think about it anymore. It was better for her to cling tightly to the old consort and the old royal highness thighs now. Otherwise, those 2 little bastards, Jing Shi and Princess Shiyu, would definitely harm her. Moreover, only by coaxing the white-eyed old lady to be happy could she find out where her mother had been sent and then think of a way to save her mother. Thus, this fellow either ran into the old princess courtyard or ran towards the old prince's study. When this fellow went to the old prince's study for the first time, he was blocked outside. However, this fellow displayed his fearless and shameless spirit and went outside the old prince's study every morning to howl a few times, "Grandfather, little Jio has come to grind ink for you. Grandfather, little Jio has sent you pastries. Grandfather, little Jio is here to give you spirit fruits." After Princess Shiyu heard this, she said with disdain, "This country bumpkin thinks that grandfather can be moved with just a few good words? The study is an important place, and she, a country bumpkin, wants to go in? Dream on." However, 5 days later, Princess Shiyu received the news that not only did Hei Shinjio enter the old prince's study, but she also obtained the old prince's acquiescence and could enter at any time in the future. Princess Shiyu was so angry that she smashed everything in the room into pieces. After Zheng Shi heard about it, she harshly reprimanded Princess Shiyu. "Shiyu, you are someone who wants to be the crown prince's consort, how can you be so impatient? If the crown prince takes in a side consort in the future, wouldn't it be even more unbearable for you?" Princess Shiyu's face revealed a vicious expression. If the crown prince takes in a side concubine, none of those bitches can think of anything good. Even if they give birth to a child, I will not let them grow up safely. Zheng Shi glared at her fiercely. "Shiyu, this kind of words will rot in your stomach. Since you have chosen to be the crown prince's concubine, you must be mentally prepared." Princess Shiyu's face revealed a resentful expression. "Can I only endure it? If I had known it would be like this, I would have agreed to the imperial preceptor today." "Shut up." Zheng Shi was clearly really angry this time. Her expression was cold and ruthless like never before. Princess Shiyu shrunk her neck in fright. "Mother, I was just saying. I was wrong." Zheng Shi's expression eased up a little. "Shiyu, regardless of whether you truly like the crown prince or whether you are pretending, you have already come this far. You must not have any other thoughts. As for the future, there will always be a way. There are plenty of shady methods in the rear residence. Your priority now is to win the crown prince's favor and try to settle the marriage as soon as possible." Princess Shiyu nodded, then she said viciously, "Mother, I really don't like that bitch Yun Chujio. She has already offended the imperial tutor, and the emperor has no intention of protecting her. It's probably father's intention to bring her back. Let's kill her." Zheng Shi recalled some things. Her face also became vicious. "You're right. The longer the night, the more dangerous it will be. That bitch is getting more and more doted on by those two old geezers. Who knows, one day they might coax them to bring Yishir back. We must send her on her way. They'll have Xihua poison her food and then kill Xihua to silence her. At that time, even if those two old farts knew that I poisoned her and she was already dead, they wouldn't be able to do anything about it." That night, Zheng Shi found an excuse to call Xihua over. "If you mix this packet of medicinal powder into her food, you will definitely benefit from it. If you don't do it, then your parents and brother won't be able to live," Zheng Shi said coldly. Xihua's body trembled as she took the packet of medicinal powder from Zheng Shi. She left Zheng Shi's courtyard in a daze. Xihua was in a daze. She did not want to kill Yun Chujio, but Zheng Shi had the power to control the sky. What if she really wanted to kill her parents and younger brother? She knew that after she had drugged Yun Chujio, she would not be able to live. Not to mention that she had already eaten Yun Chujio's poison. Even Zheng Shi would kill her to silence her. No matter what Xihua thought, there was no way she could survive. It did not matter if she died, but she did not want to implicate her family. Then would she poison Miss Jiao to death? Xihua gritted her teeth. "Miss Jiao, don't blame me. I have no choice. If you want to blame someone, blame your bad luck." The next day, Xihua went to the kitchen to get lunch. She went to a quiet place and sprinkled the medicine powder into the soup with trembling hands. Then she returned to the courtyard. "Yo, today's food smells better than usual," Hey Shinjio said while looking at the food on the table with a smile. Xihua's heart skipped a beat. She bit her lips and said stiffly, "Maybe it's because Miss Jiao is hungry." Yun Chujio curled her lips, then she said indifferently, "I think I have something to tell you. I'm the easiest person to talk to, but if anyone betrays me, not only will I kill her, but I will also kill her family's dog." Xihua's legs gave way and she almost collapsed to the ground. P&D N0V1. Calm. Although Yun Chujio's expression was indifferent, 11 Hua felt that it was even more frightening than Zheng Shi's cold threat. She finally could not take it anymore and knelt on the ground with a plop. "Ninth Miss, please spare my life. Ninth Miss, please spare my life. I was forced by the princess. If I don't do as she says, she will kill my entire family. It doesn't matter if I die, but I can't just watch my parents and younger brother be killed by the princess." Shishui was shocked and quickly knelt to the side. She could not help but feel a little sad. The children of her family were not as good as the orphans she bought. The lives of her parents and family were in the hands of her masters. She had no ability to resist. Yun Chujio glanced at Xihua. "I am not your proper master. Compared to your relatives, I am naturally the one who has been abandoned. Get up." Xihua could not believe her ears. Was it over just like that? Under normal circumstances, shouldn't she be handed over to the old princess and take her life? Which dish was poisoned? Yun Chujio asked faintly again. Xihua pointed at the bowl of soup on the table with a trembling finger. Only the soup was poisoned." Yun Chujio nodded. "Go find Zheng Shi now and say that I suddenly became filial and brought the soup to the old madam. You didn't stop me." Xihua looked at Yun Chujio in disbelief. "Jiao, Miss Jiao, what are you going to do?" Yun Chujio glanced at her. "If you want to protect you and Zixu's family, You have to do as I say. Otherwise, do you think the Zheng family will spare your family if I die? You are too naive. You will get rid of the root of the problem. Not only will you and your family die, but Zix's family will also die. Moreover, the crime is already done. It is you who poisoned me. No matter how bad I am still the miss of the Yun mansion. Naturally, your family will not be able to escape. Shi Hua was stunned at first, then her eyes widened in horror. The more she thought about it, the more frightened she became. The princess methods were ruthless. She would definitely do as the ninth miss said. So, what should she do now? While 11 Hua was stunned, Shi Shui said to her, Sister Shi Hua, now we can only listen to the ninth miss. In any case, we are all going to die. At least we don't have to bear the reputation of poisoning and killing our master. Shi Hua gritted her teeth and said to Yun Chujio, Ninth miss, as long as you can save the lives of me and Shi Shui's entire family, my life will belong to you from now on. Shi Shui nodded repeatedly at the side. They had no choice but to believe in this ninth miss in front of them. This ninth miss even took care of Zhang Mama and Manager Lu. She should be able to do it this time, right? To be honest, Shi Hua and Shi Shui were really uncertain. The imperial consort, Zheng Shi, could be said to be able to cover the sky with one hand. Even the old imperial consort would not easily go against her. Could the ninth miss do it? Yun Chujio slightly raised her eyebrows. What use is it for me to take your life? What I want is your loyalty. This time, because your relatives were coerced, I will give you a chance. If there is a next time, I guarantee that there will not be a single living thing left in your house. Shi Hua and Shi Shui repeatedly agreed. They could clearly feel the murderous intent released by Yun Chujio. For some reason, they felt that this ninth miss was even more terrifying than the princess consort. Yun Chujio glanced at the two of them. If you follow me, you may not have other abilities, but you must know how to put on an act. If you fail to put on an act today, you and your family will die. Do you understand? Shi Hua and Shi Shui hurriedly nodded in agreement. They had followed He Xinjiu for a period of time, so they had learned a little about acting. Yun Chujio stood up and put the bowl of soup into her storage ring. Then she said, All right, I'll take Shi Shui to see grandmother now. Shi Hua, you go and deliver the letter to your master now. Shi Hua nodded and rushed out of the courtyard. Shi Hua did not need to pretend at all because her forehead was covered in sweat. Her panicked look was exactly the same as the current situation. Shi Hua arrived outside Zheng Shi's courtyard. After a maid reported to her, she finally saw Zheng Shi. When Zheng Shi saw Shi Hua's appearance, she was delighted. She reckoned that Yun Chujio, that country bumpkin, had been poisoned to death. Otherwise, Shi Hua would not be so terrified. This idiot could be used as a scapegoat. After she was beaten to death, the two old men would not be able to testify against her. Zheng Shi thought of this and said to Nanny Gao, who had just been promoted, Shi Hua poisoned the ninth miss. Kill her with a cane. Shi Hua's heart sank. The ninth miss was right. Zheng Shi did not intend to let her off. At this moment, Shi Hua's heart was full of hatred for Zheng Shi. Thinking of Yun Chujio's acting, she suppressed the hatred in her heart and said with a trembling voice, Princess, please spare my life. Princess, please spare my life. Ninth miss is not dead. Zheng Shi was stunned at first, then she angrily smashed the teacup on the table onto 11 Hua. Since she is not dead, why did you come here? Princess, this servant spilled the medicine powder in the soup. But ninth miss must be crazy. She insisted that the soup smelled good today and wanted to give it to the old princess. This servant didn't stop her, so I quickly came to report to you, Shi Hua said with a trembling voice. Zheng Shi suddenly stood up. What did you say? That bitch planted the poisonous soup and prepared to give it to the old princess? Yes. Princess, I couldn't stop her no matter how hard I tried. Moreover, she put the soup into her storage ring. Even if I wanted to knock over the soup bowl, I couldn't do anything. Please think of something. Shi Hua said while kowtowing. Zheng Shi was so angry that she kicked Shi Hua. You idiot. Nanny Sun came forward and said, "Princess, there will be plenty of opportunities to deal with this bitch in the future. The most important thing now is to destroy the soup bowl. Otherwise, the consequences will be unimaginable." Jing Shi nodded. That lowly sun was dead. She could cover up the sky and cover up the sea with one hand. However, if the old princess was poisoned to death, both the old Royal Highness and Emperor Shingwu would definitely investigate to the end. At that time, it would be over. Pa en, Dan 0v1. C0M Zheng Shi thought of this and hurriedly brought Nanny Sun to the old princess residence. No matter what, she could not let the old princess drink the bowl of poisoned soup with added ingredients. Seeing that Zheng Shi and Granny Sun had left, Xihua staggered to her feet and left Zheng Shi's courtyard. She had placed all her bets on Yun Chujiu, so all she could do now was to wait. Zheng Shi almost trotted to the old princess courtyard. She did not even wait for the maid at the door to inform her before she barged in. The old princess was just about to have lunch when she saw Zheng Shi barging in a panic. She could not help but frown. "Boss, do you have something urgent?" Zheng Shi did not answer the old consort. She hurriedly put the bowl of bamboo sun chicken soup in the middle of the table into her storage ring and said, "Mother, there's something wrong with the bamboo sun used to make soup in the kitchen today. I was afraid that you wouldn't feel well after drinking it, so I rushed over. You haven't drunk it yet, have you? This little Gio is too much. Why did she give you soup out of the blue? She almost got into trouble." The old princess looked at Zheng Shi in shock. "This soup is from the kitchen. What does it have to do with little Nine?" Zheng Shi was stunned. "Didn't little Nine send this soup to you?" The old princess was confused and looked at Zheng Shi suspiciously. "Little Nine has never been here before. How did you know that little Nine was going to send me soup?" Zheng Shi was shocked. That bitch didn't come to deliver the soup? Could it be that Xihua lied to her? No, that bitch didn't have the guts to lie to her. What was going on? At this moment, a clear voice came from outside the courtyard. Grandmother, I've brought you soup. Today's soup is especially delicious." Along with the voice, Hei Xinjiu hopped in. Zheng Shi's heart skipped a beat. She had rushed over as soon as she heard the news. Of course, she was faster than this bitch. She had miscalculated, but it was also good. She could destroy the soup she had brought out just in case there was any evidence left behind. After Hei Xinjiu entered, she looked at the food on the table and clapped her hands. "Grandmother, what a coincidence. You just happen to not have any soup here, so I brought it here for you. Isn't this called telepathy?" The old princess spat at her. "You little monkey, you're the best at talking. I used to have a bowl of bamboo sun chicken soup here, but your aunt said that there was something wrong with the bamboo sun chicken soup, so she didn't let me drink it. What kind of soup did you bring? If it's also bamboo sun chicken soup, then throw it away." Yun Chujiu smiled smugly. "Grandma, it just so happens that my soup is not bamboo sun chicken soup, but winter melon pork rib soup. So it's definitely not a problem. Let's drink my bowl." As Yun Chujiu spoke, she took out a bowl of winter melon spare ribs soup from her storage ring. Then she smiled and asked Zheng Shi, "Aunt, there's something wrong with Zhu Sun chicken soup. This winter melon spare ribs soup shouldn't be a problem, right? Do you want to sit down and drink some with me? The soup today smells exceptionally fresh. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come all the way here to deliver it to grandmother." Zheng Shi's head buzzed. She had been too anxious just now and did not ask Xihua what kind of soup she had given to this bastard at noon. It seemed that this bowl of winter melon spare ribs soup must be poisonous and had to be knocked over. Therefore, Zheng Shi laughed dryly and said, "It just so happens that I haven't eaten yet. Mother won't mind adding a pair of chopsticks, right?" The old imperial consort felt that Zheng Shi was strange today. Normally, she would not even agree to stay to eat, but today she actually took the initiative to stay to eat. Although the old princess was suspicious, she still asked the maid to add a set of bowls and chopsticks. As for Hei Xinjiu, she had always been self-reliant. She had already taken out a set of bowls and chopsticks from her storage ring and was eagerly waiting for the order to start eating. The old princess couldn't help but laugh. She tapped her forehead with her hand and said, "Since you are hungry, let's start eating." Hei Shinjio bared her little white teeth. She took a spoon and scooped a small bowl of soup and placed it in front of the old princess. Then, she scooped another bowl for Zheng Shi. Finally, she scooped a bowl for herself and said crisply, "Drink the soup before eating. It's good for your health. Grandmother, first aunt, try this soup. It must be very delicious." Zheng Shi was so anxious that her head was full of sweat. In a moment of desperation, she tilted her body and swept her arm unintentionally, causing the bowl of soup between herself and the old princess consort to spill. She thought to herself, that bastard should just drink it, as long as the old princess consort was not poisoned. "Aunt, are you all right? It's such a pity for those 2 bowls of soup. But it's all right, there's still more than half a bowl left. It'll help you and grandmother get another bowl." Hei Shinjio stood up and began to fill the bowl with soup with a smile. Zheng Shi wished she could put the bowl of soup in the middle of the table into her storage ring, but she had no excuse. If she forcefully put it away, it would inevitably arouse the suspicion of old farts. While Zheng Shi was deep in thought, Hei Shinjio had already filled 2 more bowls of soup and placed them in front of Zheng Shi and the old princess. Zheng Shi was about to repeat the same trick when she heard Hei Shinjio say with a smile, "First aunt, you have to sit still this time and don't fall again. Otherwise, he'll think that you deliberately don't want grandmother to drink the soup that I sent." Zheng Shi gnashed her teeth in hatred and said with a stiff face, "Little Jio, what are you talking about? I just didn't sit still just now." Hei Shinjio smiled indifferently. Then, she stirred her bowl of soup with a spoon and took a deep breath. "This soup smells so good." The old princess said with a smile, "Is it that good? Let me try it." The old princess scooped a spoonful of soup with a spoon and was ready to put it into her mouth. Zheng Shi had no choice but to lean to the side again. Not only did she knock off the spoon in the old princess' hand, but she also knocked the 2 bowls of soup onto the ground. Granny's son quickly went forward and helped Zheng Shi up. Hei Shinjio said casually, "First aunt, didn't I tell you to be careful just now? Why did you fall again? Is there something wrong with your body? You'd better go back and see the imperial physician." The old princess also echoed, "Yes, sir. I see that you don't look well today. It's better to go back and see the imperial physician quickly." Zheng Shi gritted her teeth and said with a stiff face, "Mother, I think this pork ribs and wintermelon soup is not bad. I brought it back to drink." Zheng Shi put the bowl of soup into her storage ring as she spoke. She was too ashamed to look at the old princess' expression and hurriedly walked out. Before Zheng Shi walked out, she heard Hei Xinjia's smiling voice. "Grandmother, I told you that I was smart. I was afraid that the soup was too good to drink, so when I came here, I went to the big kitchen. I received the bowl from the back of the big kitchen. I also have a bowl of Xihua flower collar here. Since that bowl was taken away by first aunt, let's drink this bowl." Zheng Shi's head was buzzing. No wonder this bitch came later than her. It turned out that she went to the big kitchen and got another bowl of soup. Didn't that mean that the bowl on the table was poisonous? Zheng Shi hurriedly turned around and saw the old princess picking up the spoon and was about to put a spoonful of soup into her mouth. She was so scared that she didn't care and directly slapped the old princess' wrist. The old consort dodged slightly. Although she was fine, the spoon in her hand was swept to the ground by the wind. The old consort immediately flew into a rage. "Zheng Shi, what are you going to do? Are you going to kill me?" Zheng Shi's mind was blank now. Suddenly, a plan came to her mind, and she knelt down on the ground with a plop. "Mother, there's poison in that soup." The old princess had already guessed it. She asked with a gloomy face, "What do you mean? Is little Jio going to poison me to death?" Hei Shinjio looked innocent and aggrieved. "What? And you can't say that. Why would I poison grandmother to death?" PN0V1 calm Zheng Shi gritted her teeth. "Mother, little Jio didn't poison her. It was her maid Xihua. Xihua, that lowly servant, was ordered by someone to poison little Jio. Coincidentally, my maid, Hong Yuan, saw her poisoning and came to report to me. I also heard that little Nine gave you the soup, so I rushed over to stop her." The old princess slammed the table. This is outrageous. If that's the case, why didn't you say it out loud? Why did you stop us from drinking the soup in secret? Pa and Dan 0v1. C0M Zheng Shi revealed a worried expression. Mother, little Jiao has just returned. I was afraid of scaring her. So I planned to capture Xihua in secret and interrogate her, so as to avoid alerting the snake and letting the mastermind get away scot-free. Yun Chujiao revealed an incredulous expression. Aunt, is what you said true? Is this bowl of soup really poisonous? Or was it used by Xihua? Zheng Shi nodded. This is all Aunt's fault. Xihua was sent by Aunt to you. I didn't expect that lowly servant to be so audacious as to poison you. Yun Chujiao revealed an injured expression and kept shaking her head. I don't believe it. Xihua usually does her best for me. How could she poison me? Someone must have wronged her. Little Jiao, first Aunt's maid, Hong Yuan, saw it with her own eyes. If you don't believe it, first Aunt will get someone to call Hong Yuan and Xihua over. We will know after the trial. Zheng Shi despised her in her heart. This bitch was really stupid. She actually believed that bitch Xihua at this point in time. Yun Chujiao sat on the chair, looking as if she had suffered a great blow. Then she said, all right, then well do as Aunt said and call them all over. I want to ask Xihua why she wanted to harm me when I've treated her so well. The old imperial consort nodded at Zheng Shi, indicating that they should do as Yun Chujiao said. The old imperial consort patted He Xinjia's hand. Little Jiao, AI, you're not young anymore. There are some matters in the rear residence that you should learn from. This time, it's just a lesson to remember. The old imperial consort felt a little bitter in her heart. Little Jiao's heart was pure and kind. She had probably never seen such shady and private matters in the rear residence. It was inevitable that she could not accept it for the time being. However, who was the one who instructed Xihua? Third, fourth, or fifth? The old imperial consort did not suspect that it was Zheng Shi. After all, Zheng Shi took the initiative to say that there was poison in the soup. This was also where Zheng Shi was proud of herself. When the time came, she would hint 11 Hua to bite the he Shi of the third wife. Although she did not poison Yun Chujiao this time, she would at least cause trouble for the he Shi. This would prevent that bitch from thinking that her family was the Prince of Ping's residence and not putting her in her eyes. Very soon, Xihua and Hong Yuan were brought over. Yun Chujia's voice trembled as she said, Xihua, I have always been kind to you. Why did you poison the soup? Who exactly instructed you? Xihua looked confused and innocent, and then she said with a sobbing tone, Ninth Miss, how could I poison you? This is a great injustice. Zheng Shi snorted, Hong Yuan, tell me what happened. The maid called Hong Yuan said angrily, Ninth Miss, I saw it with my own eyes. This afternoon, Xihua was behind a rockery and sprinkled the medicinal powder into the soup. Really? You really saw it with your own eyes? How did you happen to see her poisoning? Yun Chujiao clearly did not believe that Xihua would poison her. Hong Yuan said calmly, Ninth Miss, I went to the princess consort's lunch in the afternoon, so I happened to see the scene of Xihua poisoning her. Yun Chujiao obviously believed Hong Yuan's words this time. She sat on the chair dejectedly and threw herself into the old princess consort's arms, crying, Grandmother, I'm so sad. I didn't expect that Xihua would poison me when I was so good to her. The old imperial consort patted Yun Chujia's back and then shouted sternly, Lowly servant, tell me, who exactly instructed you to poison little Jiao to death? Xihua kept kowtowing and said in grief and indignation, Old imperial consort, ninth young miss, this servant really did not poison you. Even if this servant was given 100 guts, this servant would not dare to poison ninth young miss. Zheng Shi coldly snorted from the side, You might not dare to harm little Jiao, but the master behind you would dare. Tell me, who was the one who instructed you? Zheng Shi's back faced the old consort as she inconspicuously stretched out 3 fingers. She felt that Xihua would definitely understand her intentions. Xihua's heart was filled with monstrous hatred. If she were to climb up and bite the he Shi, the He would not be able to do anything to the Zhengshi. However, her family would definitely be killed by the He to vent their anger. The Zhengshi was truly too vicious. Shi Hua suppressed the hatred in her heart and could not help but kowtow to defend herself. Old princess consort, 9th miss, this servant was really wronged. This servant really did not poison you. Yun Chujia's eyes lit up. Grandmother, I don't think Shi Hua is lying. Perhaps she really did not poison you. Maybe that Hong Yuan was mistaken. Hong Yuan immediately said, 9th miss, it can't be wrong. I saw her sprinkle the medicinal powder into the soup with my own eyes. Shi Hua glared at Hong Yuan angrily. Since you said you saw me sprinkle the medicinal powder in the soup with your own eyes, then what soup did I get this afternoon? Hong Yuan looked at Shi Hua with disdain. I saw it clearly. It was a bowl of winter melon rib soup. Are you sure that I got the winter melon rib soup? Of course I'm sure. I saw it with my own eyes. How could I be wrong? Hong Yuan said with certainty. Granny's son had already told her that it was winter melon rib soup, so it was naturally not wrong. Shi Hua sneered, then she looked at Yun Chujio. Miss Jiao, you heard everything, right? This Hong Yuan is simply full of nonsense. I had given you bamboo sun chicken soup in the afternoon, but she said that I had winter melon pork rib soup. She is clearly framing me. Zheng Shi almost laughed out loud. Could it be that Shi Hua was trying to act more convincing? So she said that on purpose? Seeing that she was putting in so much effort, she could be rewarded with a good coffin. The old consort was about to speak when Yun Chujio said with sparkling eyes, I knew Shi Hua wouldn't betray me. Aunt, it seems like there's something wrong with that red couple of yours. Zheng Shi was dumbfounded. Little Jiao, are you confused? Didn't Shi Hua bring you winter melon rib soup? The old princess looked at Yun Chujio in confusion. Little Jiao couldn't be spouting nonsense to absolve 11 Hua of her crime, right? Although being kind was a good thing, being too kind was stupid. Hey, race the thing. Shi Hua did bring me a bowl of bamboo sun chicken soup for lunch. When I came here, I thought the soup was really delicious, so I went to the big kitchen and thought of bringing a few more bowls for dinner. I didn't expect that when I arrived at the kitchen, I found that the winter melon spare ribs soup smelled even better, so I brought 2 more bowls. When I arrived here, I heard from my aunt that there was something wrong with the bamboo sun chicken soup, so I brought out the winter melon spare rib soup. Things were a little complicated. Anyway, Shi Hua brought back the bamboo sun chicken soup for me at noon. If you don't believe me, I'll show it to you. Hei Xinjiao took out a bowl of bamboo sun chicken soup from her storage ring and drank a few mouthfuls. Is it okay to take a look? I told you Shi Hua wouldn't harm me. Auntie, that Hong Yuan was obviously ordered by someone to frame Shi Hua. You'd better interrogate her properly. The old princess looked at Hei Xinjiao reproachfully. She had drunk the bowl of soup without confirming whether it was poisonous or not. What if it was poisonous? This child was too honest. Zheng Shi's face alternated between green and white. Her mind was in a mess now. Why did she end up like this after going back and forth? Zheng Shi could not figure it out for a moment, so she simply said, Mother, it seems that this matter is very complicated. I'll bring Hong Yuan back and interrogate her severely. Then, I'll report the results to you. The old imperial consort nodded. Interrogate this bitch properly. She won't frame Shi Hua for no reason. There must be something wrong inside. Zheng Shi nodded and left with Hong Yuan and the others. Yun Chujio stretched her neck and saw Zheng Shi leave. She immediately knelt on the ground. The old imperial consort was shocked and thought that she was poisoned. Little Jiao, what's wrong? Is there something wrong with that bowl of soup? P.N.D.1. Grandmother, I'm sorry I lied to you. Actually, Shi Hua didn't bring me this soup in the afternoon. She was the one who brought me this bowl of beef and yam soup in the afternoon, and it's highly poisonous. Yun Chujio took out a bowl of beef and yam soup and placed it on the ground. The old princess was a little confused. What's going on? Grandmother, the master behind Shi Hua is eldest aunt. Eldest aunt used Shi Hua's parents and younger brother to force her to poison me, trying to poison me to death. However, Xihua was very righteous and told me what happened. I was really scared at that time. I wanted to tell you the truth directly, but I was afraid that you wouldn't believe me. Instead, Big Ant accused me of framing her. She is so powerful. I definitely can't win against her. I will definitely suffer a loss. That's why I used such a roundabout way to let you see her true colors. If she wasn't the mastermind behind the scenes, how would she know that I came to deliver soup to you? If she was really so kind, why would her maid frame Xihua? Also, what did she say about being afraid of scaring me? I was almost burned to death earlier. Could it be that I'm afraid of these little tricks? She's just trying to cover up the truth. Mama sniffed the bowl of beef and yam soup and took out a silver needle to try it out. Then she said, "Master, there's a soul-severing powder in here. Just a little bit of it will kill you." The old consort slammed the table angrily. She gnashed her teeth in hatred. Then she was silent for a long time and sighed. "Little ninth girl, get up. What do you want grandmother to do?" "Grandmother, I know that Jingshi is in the limelight now. You probably can't do anything about it. That's why I didn't expose her face to face. This way, both she and you will have a way out. As for who she pushes out as a scapegoat, that's none of our business. Grandmother, I don't have any other requests. You just have to think of a way to protect Xihua and Xishui's family. Otherwise, they will be threatened again. They are also raised by their parents. I really can't bear it." When Yun Chujio said this, her eyes were filled with tears. She was obviously very wronged, but she didn't cry or make a scene. The old imperial consort's heart was about to break. She thought that Yun Chujio would definitely let her make the decision and settle the score with Shengshi. At the very least, she had to seek justice. She didn't expect that at this time, she would still think of her old bones. What a filial child. The old princess asked Mama to help Yun Chujio up and said, "Little Jio, don't worry. I will protect the families of these two handmaidens. Zhengshi would not dare to touch them. It's just that you have been wronged." "Grandmother, I have not been wronged. I know that everyone has things that they cannot do anything about. Moreover, after this matter, First Aunt should be able to calm down for a period of time." After Yun Chujio finished speaking, she timidly glanced at the old princess consort. It seemed like she wanted to say something, but she didn't say anything. The old princess naturally saw that Yun Chujio still had something to say, so she asked, "Little Jio, do you still have something to say?" Yun Chujio bit her lips and put on a very troubled expression. "Grandmother, I don't dare to say it. I'm afraid you'll be angry." "Sigh, you child, just say it. I won't blame you." Then I will really say it. You really won't be angry?" Hey Shinjio said timidly. "I won't be angry, just say it." The old consort saw Yun Chujio trembling as if she was treading on thin ice, and her heart ached even more. I want to go and see her. Since Aunt has poisoned me, I'm worried that Aunt will also poison her. So I want to go and see her. Grandmother, don't be angry. I really only went to see if she was safe and sound." After saying that, Yun Chujio nervously tugged at the corner of her clothes, not even daring to raise her head. The old imperial consort's expression was a little gloomy. After a long while, she said, "Little Jio, grandmother will tell you the truth. As long as you don't do anything outrageous, you will always be the daughter of the Yun family. But the Yi family, she has made a big mistake. She will never be able to enter the Yun family again." "Grandmother, I know. I don't want her to return to the Yun mansion. I just want to see if she is safe. After all, she gave birth to me. Moreover, she had been looking for me for several years. If I don't see her safe and sound with my own eyes, I will always feel empty in my heart." Yun Chujio deliberately said she, and not my mother. It was to prove to the old princess that she intended to draw a clear line between her and Yi Lan. The old consort was silent for a long time, then she said, "All right, I'll get Mama to accompany you. Mama is proficient in medicine. She can help you see if he is poisoned. After you see her, come back immediately. Don't delay, understand?" Yun Chujio threw herself into the old consort's arms and cried bitterly, "Grandmother, my good grandmother, It's all thanks to you. Otherwise, little Gio really doesn't know how to live. Sabi, the old consort's eyes were also red from Hei Xinjia's crying. She patted her back and said, all right. I'll look for an opportunity to strike Zhengshi. She won't dare to cause any more trouble for the time being. Yun Chujio acted coquettishly for a while more before she left the old consort's courtyard with Xihua and Xishui. After Yun Chujio returned to the courtyard, she hummed a little tune. It was obvious that she was in a good mood. The reason why she took such a roundabout way to expose Zhengshi was to make the old imperial consort feel guilty. That was why she dared to bring up the idea of meeting Yilan. As long as she met her mother, she did not care about any orders. She would definitely find an opportunity to stay with her mother for a few more days. Yun Chujio did not plan to bring her mother back. This imperial residence of King Yun could be said to be a dragon's den and a tiger's den. It was better to wait for her to get rid of all the eyesores before bringing her mother back. By the way, Miss Gio, when we were in the old consort's house, Zhengshi hinted that I framed 3rd Madame Heshi for ordering me to poison you. Zhengshi is too vicious. Xihua became angrier as she spoke. She wished she could strangle Zhengshi to death. Hei Xinjiu rolled her eyes and nodded approvingly at Xihua. Not bad, you've made up for it. If there's anything in the future, you two have to tell me every detail, understand? Xihua and Xishui nodded repeatedly. After this incident, they had already regarded Yun Chujio as their real master. Come, let's go to my 3rd aunt's place and bring her a bowl of soup, Hei Xinjiu said with a smile. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Xihua and Xishui were confused. Sending soup to 3rd Madam? What did she mean? Yun Chujio asked Xishui to stay behind to look after the courtyard. She brought Xihua out of the courtyard. As the old prince was still around, the Yun family did not split up. They all lived in King Yun's mansion. However, each room was separated by a corner gate. There were people guarding each room to prevent some things from being unclear. Yun Chujio had just arrived at the corner door of the 3rd room when a servant went to report to 3rd Madame Heshi. Heshi frowned. What was this little Gio doing here? Although she was puzzled, since she was already here, she naturally could not refuse the door. She got someone to invite Yun Chujio in. P&D N0V1. Calm after Hei Xinjiu bowed obediently, she said a few polite words and changed the topic. 3rd aunt, I'm here to deliver soup for you. Heshi was confused. Bring soup? What soup? Yun Chujio brought out a bowl of chicken soup with winter melon ribs. She smiled and said, 3rd aunt, I originally wanted to bring you a bowl of chicken soup with bamboo sun, but 1st aunt said that there was something wrong with the bamboo sun inside, so I had no choice but to bring this bowl to you. Heshi subconsciously asked, what's wrong with the bamboo sun? Yun Chujio suddenly covered her mouth, as if she felt that she had said too much. She said in a fluster, no, there's no problem. I was just spouting nonsense. Heshi naturally would not believe her. Her face darkened slightly. Little Gio, you know how 3rd aunt usually treats you. Is it okay for you to lie to 3rd aunt like this? A conflicted expression appeared on Yun Chujio's face. She looked around. Heshi understood and ordered the servants to leave, leaving behind only a trustworthy nanny Zhou. 3rd aunt, actually, I'm also quite conflicted in my heart. I don't know if I should tell you, but if I don't, I still feel that I've let you down. However, if I tell you, please don't say that I told you. Yun Chujio tugged at the corner of her clothes and said uneasily. When Heshi saw this, she became even more curious. Little Gio, just say it. 3rd aunt will definitely not betray you. 3rd aunt, the matter is like this. I felt that the soup today was not bad, so I brought a bowl for grandmother. I didn't expect that 1st aunt would rush over in a hurry and spill the soup I brought over. In the end, she even said that my maid, Xihua, had poisoned it. This originally had nothing to do with you, 3rd aunt, but when 1st aunt interrogated Xihua about the mastermind behind the curtain, she pointed 3 fingers at Xihua with her back facing us. Although, later on, it was proven that all of this was framed by eldest aunt's maid, Hong Yuan, I still feel that it's necessary to come and inform 3rd aunt. After all, Hong Yuan has yet to reveal the mastermind behind the curtain of flowers. He sure was not a fool. She naturally understood Jing Shi's intention of gestured 3 fingers. She was so angry that she gritted her teeth. Jing Shi, this bitch. It was one thing for her to put on the airs of a princess in front of her, but she actually wanted to frame her. She really deserved to die. Yun Chujio glanced at the hatred on the He Shi's face and felt quite pleased in her heart. The enemy of an enemy was a friend. She heard that Shi Hua and the He Shi's combat strength could not be underestimated. It would be best if she could add some trouble to Jing Shi. He Shi calmed her emotions and then said, "Little Jiao, Third Aunt, thanks for your reminder. Third Aunt owes you a favor this time. If you need my help in the future, just let me know." He Shi naturally said this out of courtesy. Never in her wildest dreams would she have thought that He Xinjiao would show her white teeth. "Third Aunt, I really do have something to ask for your help. Why do you think it's such a coincidence?" He Shi, could she take back what she had just said? This was the first time she had seen such a smooth-sailing person. Although He Shi's heart was filled with anger, she could only ask, "What is it that you need my help with?" "Third Aunt, grandmother asked G Mama to bring me to see my mother tomorrow. Although I don't know where my mother is being held, I estimate that she is still some distance away from in city. To be honest, I'm not too confident on this journey. I know that Third Aunt is very resourceful. Can you secretly send a team to protect me? Don't worry, I won't use it for nothing. They'll pay as much as I can. As you know, I'm all alone. I don't have anyone I can trust. Only Third Aunt can help me." He Xinjiao said pitifully. He Shi was shocked and asked in disbelief, "Mother allowed you to see Yi Shi?" "Yes, it wasn't easy for me to get this opportunity, so I don't want anything to go wrong. Third Aunt, please help me. I've never seen my mother before. As He Xinjiao spoke, she started to cry. She cried so much that she was heartbroken. As she cried, she pondered. He Shi didn't address Yi Lan as second sister-in-law, but Yi Clan. It seemed that her mother's days in the Cloud King Manor back then were definitely not that good. He Shi was somewhat dumbfounded by He Xinjia's crying. It was not that her heart ached, but she was somewhat caught off guard. "Little Jiao, don't cry yet. It's not that this matter can't be resolved. However, because your mother was locked up in a special place, the people I sent can only escort you for a distance." Yun Chujio immediately stopped crying. Her eyes lit up. "A distance is fine too. Thank you, Third Aunt. It's not that I want to say this, but First Aunt's petty temperament really can't compare to Third Aunt's grace and nobility. It would be great if Third Aunt were consort Yun." He Shi jokingly scolded, "Don't spout nonsense. I'll arrange some manpower for you right now. You can rest assured." "Thank you, Third Aunt. What do you think of this fee?" "What fee? You've helped Third Aunt. It's only right for Third Aunt to help you once." He Shi smiled and said. Yun Chujio was very shrewd. She instantly understood what He Shi was implying. That was to repay her favor once and for all. In the future, don't come and be disliked by others. This fellow smiled and said, "Third Aunt, our courtyard is close to each other. In the future, I will often come and pay my respects to you." He Xinjiao didn't wait for He Shi's reply after she finished speaking and skipped away. He Shi looked at Yun Chujio's back and then at the bowl of soup on the table. She was stunned for a moment before she said to Nanny Zhou behind her, "Go and find out what's going on." 2 hours later, Nanny Zhou told He Shi what she found out. Basically, it was the same as what Yun Chujio said. He Shi was so angry that she threw a teacup. Jing Shi was really going too far. Let's wait and see. On one side, He Shi was so angry that she stomped her feet. On the other side, He Xinjia's heart was filled with joy. She was very excited to see her mother. The next day, although He Xinjio woke up early, she was not eager to see the old consort. This guy knew that the old consort did not like Yi Lan. If she acted too eager, it was likely that the matter would be ruined. This guy waited with his fingers. Finally, at midnight, Ji Mama came. Yun Chujio remembered that the old consort did not allow her to bring Shi Hua and Shi Shuet to see Yi Lan, so she instructed, Xihua, Xishui, if Zhengshi asks you to go to her place, don't go. If she tries to force you, go find my grandmother. My grandmother will protect you, understand? But don't worry, Zhengshi is not that stupid. She won't touch you. At least for the time being, she won't touch you. Xihua and Xishui nodded repeatedly. As long as their family members were fine, they would have nothing to worry about. After Yun Chujio gave her instructions, she followed Ji Mama out of the Yun mansion. Yun Chujio shot a glance at Ji Mama, who had brought 20 guards with her. Ji Mama was thinking to herself, maybe more than half of these people are Zhengshi's people. If they were really in danger, they would definitely run faster than me. Fortunately, I have a backup plan. After the group left in city, Ji Mama summoned her flying spirit tool, and the group boarded the flying spirit tool and set off. Yun Chujio looked at the flying spirit tool. It seemed to be used by the old princess, and it was quite comfortable. Ji Mama, how much does such a flying spirit tool cost? Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and asked curiously. 50 million upper-grade spirit stones, Ji Mama said with a smile. 50 million? That's not too expensive. They'll get a few of them some other day, Hei Shinjio said while stroking her chin. The corner of Ji Mama's eyes twitched. Not too expensive? You only have 10 million upper-grade spirit stones, how many of them can you buy? You're really shameless. Yun Chujio caught a glimpse of Ji Mama's expression and then remembered that her poor girl character. She quickly added, this is my goal. Maybe you'll be rich in the future. Ji Mama, now that we have set off, you can tell me where my mother is locked up, right? Ji Mama paused for a moment and then said, Madame Yi is locked up in the nunnery of the Yun family. But don't worry, Miss Jio. You won't have to worry about food and clothing there. Madame Yi is fine. Yun Chujio's small face suddenly darkened. No matter how deep her thoughts were, she couldn't hide the anger in her heart when she heard that her mother was locked up in the nunnery. This was too much. What mistake did her mother make to lock her mother up in the nunnery of the Yun family? What nunnery? To put it bluntly, wasn't it just a nunnery? How could she force her mother to become a monk out of nowhere? She was so shameless. Seeing Yun Chujio's gloomy face, Ji Mama was shocked. Miss Jio's spiritual power was low, but her imposing manner at the moment made people feel a little scared. Yun Chujio felt like her heart was turning upside down. She suppressed the anger in her heart. No matter what, it was a serious matter to see her mother first. She was not afraid to settle the score. Let's wait and see. Yun Chujio eased her expression and asked, Ji Mama, why was my mother locked in the nunnery? Ji Mama's expression changed. Ninth Miss, the old princess has ordered that no one is allowed to discuss this matter. You'd better not ask. Yun Chujio knew that if Ji Mama did not want to tell, she would not tell no matter how much she asked. Anyway, she would be able to see Yi very soon. When the time came, she could just ask her. A day later, the flying spirit tool landed on the ground. Not far away was a dense forest that stretched as far as the eye could see. Miss Jio, the area ahead belongs to the floating cloud mountain. There's no way for the flying spirit tool to enter. We can only walk there. Yun Chujio nodded and walked into the dense forest under the escort of everyone. After walking for another half a day, Yun Chujio discovered that there was no more road ahead. Just as she was feeling puzzled, she saw Ji Mama take out a jade token. After she formed a seal, a barrier-like entrance appeared in front of her. P&D N0V1. Calm Yun Chujio thought to herself. No wonder he sure said that her people could only escort her for a short distance. It turned out that it was because there was a barrier in front of them. It was just a nunnery. Was there a need to go through so much trouble? Yun Chujio followed Ji Mama into the barrier. Her vision suddenly became clear. She discovered that they were standing at the foot of a mountain. The things in front of them were next to each other. Were they graves? While Yun Chujio was in a daze, Ji Mama and the others knelt on the ground. Yun Chujio was dragged by Ji Mama and knelt on the ground as well. Yun Chujio was baffled. What was wrong with her? Miss Jio, those in front are the graves of the ancestors of the Yun family. Hurry up and kneel, Ji Mama said with a serious expression. Yun Chujio suddenly realized that it was no wonder that a formation had been set up mysteriously. So this was the ancestral grave of the Yun family? This guy followed her and bowed a few times. To be honest, this guy didn't really feel a sense of belonging to the Yun family, so he had no feelings for the ancestors of the Yun family. Not far from the ancestral grave of the Yun family, there was a tall mountain peak that reached into the clouds. According to Ji Mama, that was the floating cloud mountain, and the Yun family nunnery was located halfway up the mountain. As soon as they arrived at the gate of the nunnery along the stone steps, they heard an angry man shout from the courtyard, "Are all of you dead? How did Yilan escape?" Yun Chujio craned her neck to take a look. Wasn't this the Duke of Yun Fengjian? Why was he here? Had her mother escaped? Ji Mama's expression changed when she saw the Duke of Yun. Just as she was about to say something, the Duke of Yun turned his head and saw Yun Chujio and the others. King Yun stared at Yun Chujio with a malicious gaze and then said coldly, "Who told you to come here? Is this where you should be?" The corner of Yun Chujio's mouth curled up. "Eldest uncle, I should be asking you this. This is the Yun family's nunnery. Why is eldest uncle here? Even if it's to offer sacrifices to the ancestors, you can't come here, right?" Seeing King Yun's gloomy expression, Ji Mama hurriedly said, "King, the old princess sent a servant to accompany Miss Jiao to visit Madame Yi." Hearing that, King Yun's face softened a little and he said gloomily, "Yi Lan escaped, and it is said that he left with a wild man. Such an unscrupulous and shameless slut really deserves to be killed." Yun Chujio's face suddenly turned cold. "First, uncle, before the matter is clarified, please mind your words. There is not only a formation here, but also so many people. How did the so-called wild man get in? Don't tell me that someone is trying to frame my mother, lock her up or kill her, and then charge her with a crime?" Hearing Yun Chujio's words, Duke Yun's expression became even uglier. He turned around to look at the people in the Yun family's nunnery hall. "Tell me what is going on. If anyone is lying, I will kill her." Many nuns were kneeling on the ground. One of the nuns with triangular eyes said, "Prince, even if you lend us 10,000 guts, we wouldn't dare to lie to you." Sanjian said, "That bitch Yilan has been sick recently. She didn't do the work assigned to her and even threatened us with suicide. We could only let her slack off. However, unexpectedly, last night, a wild man came out of nowhere and rushed out with that bitch in his arms. We had no way to stop him." Before Duke Yun could say anything, Yun Chujio jumped over and kicked the nun with Sanjian. "Fuck you. You're the bitch. You're the one with the wild man." Yun Chujio was filled with anger. She could tell from the nun's words that Yi Lan had been bullied by these people many times. She was furious. Yun Chujio grabbed the neck of the triangular-eyed nun. "Tell me the truth. Where is my mother? If you dare to lie, I will strangle you to death." San Jiaoyan's voice was filled with anger. San Jiaoyan rolled her eyes. She thought that King Yun would stop her, but he did not say anything. When San Jiaoyan thought that she would be strangled to death, Yun Chujio let go of her hand. She said coldly, "Strangling you to death is too easy for you. I'm going to cut off your flesh piece by piece and then sprinkle some chili on it. Don't you think it's interesting?" Before the nun could answer, Yun Chujio had already cut San Jiaoyan's face with a large kitchen knife. San Jiaoyan immediately cried out, I said, spare me." Yun Chujio placed the knife on San Jiaoyan's neck and said coldly, "What's going on? Where's my mother?" "Yi Lan and Yi Lan were locked in the cellar by us. Pan, DN01, him, who told you to lie about my mother eloping with someone? Tell me." Yun Chujio wished she could kill the nun immediately, but she had to endure it for the time being in order to find out the truth. The nun shot a glance at King Yun. She seemed to want to say something, but she hesitated. Yun Chujio gently cut the knife in San Jiaoyan's hand, and the nun quickly said, "Yes, it was the princess who sent us a message and asked us to do this." Yun Chujio asked slowly, "Do all the people in the nunnery know about this?" The nun with triangular eyes was afraid that Yun Chujio would really kill her, so she asked Yun Chujio, "San Jiaoyan, do you know about this?" She said hurriedly, "We all know. We all know that the princess has given us a lot of benefits and asked us to mistreat the Yi family. We were forced to do so. Otherwise, the princess wouldn't forgive us." Yun Chujio's face was as cold as ice. She let go of the nun with triangular eyes and said, "Where is the cellar? Take me there." San Jiaoyan glanced at Duke Yun and was so frightened by the murderous look in his eyes that she almost fell to the ground. She quickly led the group to the main hall of the nunnery hall. After removing the Buddha statue, a cellar entrance was revealed. The group walked down the stairs. It was cold and damp in the cellar. Yun Chujio was full of hatred. Good, very good. How could she treat her mother like this? None of them could live. Under the dim candlelight in the cellar, Yun Chujio saw a bed leaning against the wall. There was no bedding on it, only some straw. A woman was curled up on the bed with her back facing the crowd. Yun Chujio's heart was full of bitterness and anger. She quickly walked over and said in a trembling voice, "Mother, mother, I'm late. Mother, I'm here to save you." Seeing that the person on the bed had no reaction, Yun Chujio's hands trembled as she went to help the woman up. Her hands felt ice-cold. Yun Chujio's head buzzed. Could it be that her mother was already dead? Yun Chujio bit her lips and helped the woman up. However, when she saw the woman's appearance, she was stunned. She had seen Yi Lan's portrait at Lin Yang's place. This dead woman was not Yi Lan at all. What was going on? Duke Yun had obviously also realized that something was amiss. He kicked San Jiaoyan's body. "This is not Yi Lan at all. Where exactly is Yi Lan locked up by you? If you don't tell me the truth, I will kill all of your family members." San Jiaoyan and the other nuns quickly knelt on the ground. "Duke, please spare my life. Duke, please spare my life. We really locked Yi Lan up here. I just don't know how did it become a meditation?" King Yun asked the other nuns, and they all said the same thing. They had indeed locked Yi Lan up in the cellar the day before yesterday, but they did not know how they became this meditation nun. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes. She could tell that these nuns were not lying. It seemed that something else must have happened after her mother was locked in the cellar. Did her mother escape by herself, or was she rescued? Or was she taken away by someone? Yun Chujio clenched her fists tightly under her sleeves. She was angry, blamed herself, and felt helpless. The mother and daughter were like fish on a chopping board. They could only be slaughtered by others. This feeling was terrible. "Xingshi, I will kill you sooner or later." Yun Chujio carried a large kitchen knife and walked to the front of the nun with San Jiaoyan. She cut off her neck with the knife. Ji Mama cried out in shock. "Ninth miss, what do you want to do?" Yun Chujio ignored her and walked to the other nuns with the kitchen knife. These nuns were restrained by King Yun's spiritual power and could not resist at all. Seeing the murderous intent in Yun Chujio's eyes, all of them kept begging for mercy. "Miss Jiao, please spare my life. Spare my life." This was all instigated by the princess. "We were forced." "Forced? It was clearly you who tortured my mother for some benefits. Now that my mother is gone, what use is there for you to be alive?" Yun Chujio said as she killed all the nuns one by one. Ji Mama wanted to stop her, but was stopped by Lord Yun. Lord Yun's eyes flashed with a strange light as he allowed Yun Chujio to kill all the nuns. Yun Chujio looked at Lord Yun with a sarcastic look. "Eldest uncle, I'll leave the rest to you. After all, you're so warm-hearted that you came all the way here to see my mother." Yun Chujio now completely understood why her mother was locked up in the Yun family's nunnery hall. There was a high chance that Lord Yun coveted her mother, and that Zhengshi made up some nonsense about her mother seducing Lord Yun. This infuriated the old princess consort. Any family would naturally not tolerate such a scandal. That was why the old princess consort was so disgusted with Yi Lan. This Duke Yun was coveting his sister-in-law. He was worse than a beast. What was he doing here? He must be up to no good. Perhaps he was planning to use her to coerce Yi Lan into submission. He was simply shameless to the extreme. Duke Yun stared at Yun Chujio with a gloomy expression. "Little girl, for the sake of your mother, I won't argue with you this time. If you still don't know what's good for you, our Yun family won't have much more of you. We won't have much less of you. You better take care of yourself." Yun Chujio curled the corners of her lips and glanced at King Yun with a faint smile. Then she turned to the sweating Ji Mama and said, "Ji Mama, since my mother isn't here, let's go." Ji Mama wished that she could leave this place as soon as possible. The killing intent between King Yun and Yun Chujio was suffocating. She was really afraid that King Yun would kill Yun Chujio in a fit of anger. If Yun Chujio was really killed by Lord Yun, perhaps he would kill her to silence her. Then she was really unlucky. Ji Mama bowed to Lord Yun and followed Yun Chujio out of the cellar. Ji Mama said carefully, "Ninth Miss, since Madame Yi has gone missing, we'd better go back quickly. Otherwise, the old princess will be very worried about you." Ji Mama's attitude was much more respectful than before, because she found that although this ninth young Miss Spiritual Power was low, the murderous aura around her now made people involuntarily fear her. "Well, let's go." Yun Chujio walked out of the Yun family nunnery with determined steps. After Yun Chujio left the Yun family nunnery, she remained silent all the way. The reason why she killed all the nuns was partly because she hated them for mistreating Yi Lan, and partly because she wanted to silence them. She felt that Yi Lan was most likely saved by someone. After all, if they wanted to harm her, they could just kill her directly. There was no need to go through so much trouble. If those nuns were interrogated by King Yun and found any clues, Yi Lan would probably fall into his hands. At that time, he might use some despicable means to force Yi Lan. Since that was the case, she would cut off all clues. If her mother wanted to see her, she would naturally have a way to find her. Even if it was worse, when she took control of the Cloud Mansion in the future, her mother would definitely come and recognize her. As for how she would take control of the Yun residence, that was completely out of this fellow's consideration. This fellow had always had this kind of mysterious confidence. Yun Chujio was thinking about something as she casually looked into the distance. Then she was stunned. Seeing that Yun Chujio had stopped moving, Ji Mama said anxiously, "Miss Jio, the sky is going to turn dark soon. We have to hurry." Yun Chujio pointed at the ancestral grave of the Yun family in the distance. "Ji Mama, why do I feel that the shape of the ancestral grave is a little strange? Is it built according to the formation?" The corner of Ji Mama's eyes twitched violently. "Miss Jio, how is this possible? You must be upset because Madame Yi has gone missing." Yun Chujio shook her head. It was true. She had never heard that the ancestral grave had to be built according to the formation. How many years would it take to complete the formation? The 20 guards brought by Ji Mama did not go up the mountain. They had been waiting at the foot of the mountain, so they did not know what had happened. However, when they saw the gloomy faces of Yun Chujio and Ji Mama, they naturally did not dare to ask further. They quickly followed behind the two of them. When they passed by the ancestral tombs of the Yun family, Yun Chujio took a few more glances from afar. She did not find anything strange, so she followed Ji Mama and the others into the dense forest. After walking for more than half a day, the sky had completely turned dark. They had no choice but to find an empty space in the dense forest and prepare to spend the night there. Yun Chujio was rather uneasy and could not help but frown. She said to Ji Mama, "Ji Mama, we'd better hurry through the night. If anyone attacks us in this dense forest, I'm afraid it'll be difficult for us to escape." Ji Mama could not help but laugh. "Miss Jio, who in the East Phoenix Kingdom would dare to ambush us? Besides, we have 20 guards with us." Yun Chujio stood up. "Ji Mama, it's better to be careful in everything. Let's go. We'll travel through the night. If you want to rest, wait until we board the spaceship." If Yun Chujio talked to herself like that before today, Ji Mama would definitely ignore her. She was just a country bumpkin who was not valued. How could she still want to command her? However, after seeing Yun Chujio kill more than 10 nuns with her own hands, Ji Mama felt a little apprehensive. Therefore, although she did not think much of it, she still ordered the guards to follow behind Yun Chujio and continue to move forward. The guards were all very dissatisfied, but they were not in a hurry. Why did they have to rush through the night in the dark? This ninth miss had a brain. However, when they saw that Ji Mama seemed to be a little afraid of that country bumpkin ninth miss, they naturally couldn't say anything and could only follow. Very quickly, they were surprised to find that the country bumpkin ninth miss was walking extremely fast, almost twice as fast as when she came. They were very surprised. Wasn't this ninth miss only at the 8th layer of the ethereal space realm? How faster than them than the movement? This is too incredible. Yun Chujio dashed forward at her fastest speed. Although she did not know what kind of danger she would be in, she felt increasingly uneasy in her heart. She had to leave this dense forest as soon as possible. When they reached the outside of the dense forest, even if there was danger, with the help of the He-Sher's men, they would at least be able to protect themselves. As the crowd sped forward, a guard suddenly exclaimed, "There seems to be someone chasing us from behind, and there are quite a number of them." Some of the guards replied indifferently, "How is that possible? It's impossible for there to be anyone else in this forest." Yun Chujio's heart instantly sank. Could it be King Yun's men? That's right. That shameless bastard might want to kill her, or even kill everyone to silence her. After all, the fact that he secretly went to the Yun clan's nunnery could not be leaked, or else his reputation would be tarnished. Thinking of this, Yun Chujio said coldly, "If you don't want to die, then leave quickly." The guards were startled by Yun Chujio's cold voice, and they subconsciously quickened their pace. Unfortunately, when they were about 5 miles away from the exit of the dense forest, the people behind them still caught up and surrounded them. The faces of those people were covered with black cloth, only revealing pairs of eyes full of killing intent. The leader raised his hand and shouted, "Kill! Leave no one alive." Ji Mama protected Yun Chujio, and the guards hurriedly accepted the challenge. However, the enemy had more than 3 times as many people as them, and their spiritual power was obviously higher than theirs. In less than an hour, they would die without a doubt. Ji Mama inwardly cursed her bad luck. How could she have thought that she would only accompany a country bumpkin to the nunnery hall, and she would end up getting herself killed? She had seen a ghost. Yun Chujio's eyes flashed. If she fought head-on, there was no way she could survive. She had to think of a way to stall for time. This place was only 5 miles away from the exit. It was possible that the people arranged by the He-Sher would rush over to help when they heard the commotion. As long as those people came, it was uncertain who would win. Yun Chujio thought of this. She coldly said, "Although your master is my eldest uncle, Ji Mama is one of the old consort's people. I am the 9th young miss of the Yun family. If you really kill us today, you will all die sooner or later. Your family members will also die. Even the dogs in your family will die." When those masked men heard Yun Chujio's words, their actions clearly paused for a moment. Ji Mama instantly knew that Yun Chujio's guess was true. These people were actually sent by King Yun to silence them. Ji Mama felt both hatred and fear in her heart. Pan, Thin 0 Vuan, C. M. At first, she thought that it was the Yi group who shamelessly seduced the king, but now it seemed that it was the exact opposite. The king was coveting the Yi group and was afraid that she would tell the old princess about it. Now, he actually wanted to silence her. Ji Mama felt her head buzzing. Since these people were ordered by the king to kill them, even if they managed to escape death this time, they would probably die sooner or later when they returned. The guards following Ji Mama did not enter the nunnery hall, so they were confused. Why did the Royal Highness want to kill Ji Mama and Mischievous? Was he crazy? Yun Chujio saw that the masked men only paused for a moment, but their attacks did not decrease. She said loudly again, "Although the throne belongs to my eldest uncle now, don't forget that my grandfather is still alive. He can ask the emperor for an order to abolish Yun Fengjian's throne at any time. A man should leave some leeway in doing things. In the end, if we really pursue the matter, Yun Fengjian will be fine." You are all scapegoats. After hearing Yun Chujia's words, although the masked men's movements slowed down slightly, they still attacked fiercely. Yun Chujia's heart sank. It seemed that these people should be Prince Yun's men of sacrifice. No matter how much she tried to deceive them, it would be useless. She could only hope that those people from the He clan would rush over as soon as possible. Just as Yun Chujio was pondering, the guard's defensive line was broken through. Several masked men charged straight at Yun Chujio. Ji Mama hurriedly took action to meet the enemy. Even though her spiritual power was not low, it was difficult for her to fight against 4 hands with 2 fists. Not to mention protecting Yun Chujio, even her own life could not be saved. Ji Mama thought to herself, it's over. None of them would survive. Yun Chujio gritted her teeth. It seemed that she could only reveal all her trump cards. Just as she was about to release De Hua and Meng Yanshou, dozens of people rushed over. Their faces were also covered with black cloth. Without saying a word, they started to fight with the masked men from before. Yun Chujio let out a long sigh. Luckily, these people came in time. After she returned, she really had to thank He Sure. When the masked men from before saw that they were no match for them, the leader could only say gloomily, "Retreat." When they saw that the masked men had fled, the rest of them did not chase after them. They also did not greet Yun Chujio and the others and left without a sound. Ji Mama wiped the cold sweat off her forehead. She was puzzled. Who were those people? Why did they have to save them? However, it was obviously not the time to discuss this. Everyone hurriedly left the dense forest. After boarding the flying spirit tool, they flew toward the Yun mansion at the fastest speed. Ji Mama looked at Yun Chujio's cold little face and wanted to say something, but she hesitated. Ji Mama, I know what you want to say. Now we have no other choice. You can tell Grandma about it. Besides Grandma, no one can protect us. Besides, don't say anything about me killing those nuns, Yun Chujio said coldly. Ji Mama nodded. At this moment, she was so regretful that her intestines were turning green. If she had known that coming out would bring about a fatal disaster, she would not have come no matter what. However, it was too late to say anything now. Ninth Miss was right. Now, besides the old princess consort, no one else could save them. After the old princess consort received Ji Mama's voice transmission talisman, she almost fainted from anger. When the old princess saw the old royal highness, she told him everything. The old royal highness immediately flew into a rage. Vile creature. He's simply worse than a pig or a dog. Coveting his sister-in-law and chasing after his niece, what is he trying to do? I'll ask an imperial decree to cripple this beast right now. The old consort pulled the furious old royal highness back. Royal highness, calm down first. You have to think twice. That beast, boss, is really hateful. However, the Yun family army's tiger talisman is in boss hands. If he were to be flustered and go all out, I'm afraid that even the emperor would be apprehensive and would not agree to it at all. Moreover, with this mess, our Yun family's reputation will be completely ruined. If things go wrong, the Yun family will fall apart and it will be even harder to end things. The old royal highness panted heavily as he sat on the chair dejectedly and said, Back then, I shouldn't have given the Yun family army's tiger talisman to that bastard. Back then, when Feng Jin was in trouble, my mind was in a mess. I was muddle-headed and let that bastard take control of the military. I really regret it back then. The old princess sighed again and again. Your Highness, it's not your fault. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th are all more useless than the last. At that time, we could only let the eldest inherit the throne. If the 2nd was still alive, we wouldn't be in such a difficult situation. Sigh. After a moment of silence, the old prince finally said, No matter what, protect little Gio first. Boss and Jingshi are not easy to deal with. You should take care of little Gio a little more. As for the matter of the throne, I will investigate the younger generation of Jifeng and the others. If there is a suitable one, I will slowly plan to abolish that beast's throne. The old princess nodded. The Yi family has already disappeared. I reckon that boss will not cause any trouble for the time being. I will give Jingshi a good beating. Little Jiao will be fine. It's just that that child is too kind. She doesn't have the heart to guard against others at all. It really makes one's heart ache. That's right. Little Jiao is kind and filial. She is a well-behaved child. Send a few more people with high spirit energy to protect her. Otherwise, she will be harmed by those things that are worse than pigs and dogs. The old prince sighed. Hei Xinjiao, who was thought to be Little Lotus, was thinking about her next step. The cards in her hand were really limited. Other than relying on the old royal highness and the old consort's care, she didn't seem to have any trump cards. Spiritual power? Scum. Connections? Scum. Wait, she still had one thing that wasn't scum, and that was that she had money. As the saying goes, money can make the devil push the millstone. As long as she planned well, she would definitely be able to take advantage of the situation. However, the most important thing now was to cultivate. Her own strength was not good enough, so she was still uncertain. Beside her, Ji Mama saw Yun Chujia's expression fluctuating between worry and joy. She could not help but ask curiously, Miss Jiao, do you know the people who came to save us? No. That's really strange. Poor they. Why did they save us? Ji Mama was puzzled. I guess they think I'm pretty and want to be a hero to save the beauty. Ji Mama. When the flying spiritual device landed, Ji Mama's heart was finally relieved. She had finally returned safely. This trip was really a narrow escape. Yun Chujiao and Ji Mama hurried back to the Yun mansion and then went straight to the old princess courtyard. The moment Hei Xinjiao saw the old consort, she threw herself into her arms and cried, Grandma, sob, I'm scared to death. Big uncle is so scary, he wants to kill me, sob, so scary. The corner of Ji Mama's eyes twitched violently. This ninth miss was simply a drama queen. Was she scared? Why didn't she see that she was scared? Killing those nuns was like chopping melons and vegetables, and also teaching those masked men a lesson. It would be weird if she was scared. The old princess did not know that Hei Xinjiao was acting. She hugged her and comforted her. It's okay. Grandmother will protect you in the future. Grandmother will arrange more guards for you in the future. You don't have to worry that someone will harm you. Yun Chujiao wiped her tears with her sleeve and said pitifully, Grandmother, it's a good thing that I have grandmother. Otherwise, I really wouldn't be able to live. The old imperial consort sighed. Sigh, it would have been great if you had agreed to be the imperial tutor's disciple. If that was the case, even if boss had the guts, he wouldn't dare to touch a single hair on your head. Yun Chujiao cursed in her heart. That imperial tutor was already old enough to be her father. She wouldn't have taken a fancy to him. Besides, she still had a pretty boy. Thinking of de-biming, Yun Chujia's tears fell again. Then she thought of her mother and father who had gone missing. The fake tears turned into real tears and finally burst into tears. The old imperial consort was numb from her tears. Why was she crying again? Could it be because she mentioned the national advisor? Good. Grandmother will not mention the national advisor anymore. Little Jiao, don't cry anymore. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.